Saintess summons skeletons. By Morn. Chapter 301, Death Struggles. Follow me, daughter of sorrow, Leverla told Sofia as he exited the brightly lit examination room. He took the lead and Sofia followed a few steps behind. It took a little while for Sofia to organize her thoughts. Nice to meet you, son of death. Feeling shared. I sense a question. Speak your mind. I have several questions, such as why are we going down into the cathedral's underground, but what I wanted to ask was something about death. I hear you. Then, do you know why death does not talk? Leverla stopped in his tracks. Like an owl's head, his flat faceless mask of a head rotated to look at Sofia behind him. You are privy to unusual knowledge. I understand the smell better now. Death does not speak to spare us. To spare us? Yes, Leverla answered as his head snapped back to its original position, and he took another step down the torch-lit stone brick stairs. In godhood, two opposites reign supreme. The exuberant sun, and the silent death. Death is too widely feared. The longer people live, the more they dread the idea of all they built collapsing after their departure. Powerful people prepare numerous contingencies to save themselves, should the need arise. Ways to avoid death. The powerful fear death, and doing so, they feed it with the purest essence. And that makes death so powerful that the very words they speak are dangerous? Exactly. Death is over-encumbered. Crumbling under its own essence. It seeps into everything it touches, pure death, and leaves no life behind. That is why we worship it. To alleviate the burden. Then death must be very happy to be able to send faces in Cynthia's chat room. No wonder it's one of her most active members. That is a sadder answer than I had expected. But it does answer my other question, which was why you worship a recessed. Now you know. Too much of anything can be a burden. Your mentor is another victim of such principles. Too much of anything already has too much power? That wouldn't be wrong, or is it something else? And she became an outcast for it. At least there are still some people who care for her. Philip was genuinely concerned, I think. And maybe it's just my imagination, but this Leverla guy's voice felt a little less cold ever since the moment I called Aretti's grandma. If death is so powerful, can they not come to the physical realm like sun can? Sofia asked. It is much harder for the recess to reach the physical plane than for the gods. The distance is much further. Death sometimes enters the spiritual realm, but it cannot stay long, for fear of endangering the souls of the living, Leverla explained as he kept leading Sofia deeper and deeper into the cathedral's underground levels, his long white robe trailing on the steps behind him. Interesting. Is this why the apostle transformations are so grotesque? I hope he's not offended by this. Yes. I feel your unease. No need. I know my looks are quite special. So must be yours. Despite their outward appearance, they are the best vessels our divinities can provide. Lovingly handcrafted for their children, us. Yet they are the reason we apostles are known as evil demons? Things are as they are. We have long since embraced that name, our leader adopting the Demon King moniker. It is no matter, we indeed look inherently evil, do we not? We represent the aspects of nature and life that mortals abhor. Thus I find our gait suitable. Now I almost feel ashamed of still looking like I do most of the time. Am I a failure as an apostle? There is no shame in your existence, Vakarais Rihofen. Do you know the failure rate of an apostle's ritual? As in how many fail to set it up properly, or to absorb the essence? Neither. Failure as in being rejected by the divine. That can happen? Scripture's book said nothing about this. Wait, yet of course it wouldn't. The head of Leverla slowly bobbed up and down. About 9 out of 10 rituals fail. Out of those, about half are rejections. The divine has no obligation to accept you. What happens then? Do you simply die? In most cases, yes. As a majority of rituals culminate in the performer's death. I see, it's hard to believe I took such risks without even knowing it. Thank you for answering my questions. Although I was always proud to be Sorrow's daughter, I always had this doubt about my position, since the system messages said I was only an honorary apostle. Sorrow has accepted you as her daughter. Your continued existence gives her a window to observe this world. It is more than enough, and enough to make you a full-fledged member of the apostles, demonic appearance or not. Again, thank you for the answers. Apostles ought to help each other. We are almost there. One more question? Leverla offered. Can you tell me more about the Demon King? I know nothing but his 2 titles. Certainly. The Demon King is the collective voice of every recessed. His goal is to create, inform, and lead the apostles, should the recessed as a whole decide to act upon the physical world. Our leader, of sorts. Should such a thing happen, he will summon us. Has that ever happened? Twice in my lifetime. The call is never a pleasant experience, but if you still bear any respect for the recessed who took you in, you must participate in their name. Hopefully we will never be called again. But I fear it may not be long until the Phagiad become a pressing issue, Leverla informed Sofia, his voice trailing into a sigh after the last sentence. The Phagiad again. I should really stay out of this if I can, I have enough to worry about already. Leverla stopped in the middle of a flight of stairs between 2 of the underground levels of the cathedral. Sofia had not been paying much attention to her surroundings, too captivated by the knowledge Leverla was willing to share. But why stop here? One of Leverla's strange black arms appeared out of his robe and pressed against a random stone brick of the wall, sending mana into it. The wall disappeared, revealing a tight secret corridor that led to a room full of locked enchanted chests. It should be in the 3rd from the right, Leverla mumbled as he entered the small room. Breaking the magic protections on said chest one by one, Leverla finally opened it, retrieving a paper doll covered in an inordinate amount of minuscule runes. There we are. He folded the paper doll into a small roll of paper between 2 long fingers, before turning back to present it to Sofia. She tried to identify it, but the result was completely garbled and meant nothing, even worrying Sofia for a second as she thought Mr. Scribe might have been having a seizure. But identifying other things still worked correctly. What is it? She finally asked, observing the rolled piece of paper in Leverla's extended hand. A cursed paper doll. Swallow it. This is what your mentor paid extra for. It will protect you from an attack you cannot handle, once. And will call me. Its effects should last for almost a full year. It will be good enough. Why do I have to eat it? It will last longer and be operational faster if it is inside of you. It will simply await at the border of your stomach. You will not feel a thing, I made it myself and can attest that it has no dangerous properties. Sofia picked up the rolled piece of paper and swallowed it. I really don't feel it, but I can tell it is there through my mana senses. It would be very hard to see from outside since it is so close to the heart, which is full of mana. So it's also a way to conceal it. Although the identify description was dysfunctional, Sofia trusted Aredes, and by extension, she trusted Leverla. She felt pretty confident that she hadn't been lied to. I wonder what kind of attack would activate it. I might die a few times throughout the year, nothing major, I have a skill to negate that. Will that activate this paper doll? No, Leverla answered. It will only protect you from a lethal attack sent your way by someone of level 300 or above. Or at least, it will try. If somehow the Emperor or the Old Sage decided to attack you, nothing short of the Great Calamity herself coming back could possibly save you. After Leverla gave some more details on the paper doll's restrictions, such as how far from him it could optimally operate, the duo returned to the surface the way they came. This time, it was Leverla who asked questions, the roles had reversed. He mostly wondered about Sofia's story as an apostle and her connection with Aredes. As they left the cathedral, Leverla brought Sofia to the central plaza of the giant city. Both the Imperial Palace and the Academy could be seen from there, their extravagant architecture rising far above the roofs of the regular houses and shops. We are in luck. It is still open. That will make things much faster, Leverla commented as he led Sofia into a tall building labeled Central Administration. Chapter 302, A Name Like Any Other. Sofia entered the administrative building followed by Leverla, and all she could think about was how weird it was to her that these Exidian people, who all had horns, also almost all wore hats. Why so many hats? Even the receptionist inside wore a tiny hat that basically only covered a third of her head. Just why? Still, Sofia greeted the receptionist, "Hello." "Oh. Another human lady. Welcome," the receptionist greeted Sofia before she noticed the person behind her, Dr. Leverla. The demon closed the door behind him. "Elena? You grew lots. Are your eyes still good? Couldn't be better. All thanks to you. Did you come to have this lady registered?" "Indeed. I am to be her guarantor, I need her to get a mithril grade ID. "Mithril?" the receptionist repeated while glancing at Sofia. "I must inform you that even at her level and with you as a guarantor, the request might be denied if her qualifications are unsatisfactory. The upfront cost is 10,000. My level? Lady, you are level 68. Send the bill to Bishop Clement, Leverla answered. The receptionist nodded and left her desk. She walked past Sofia and the doctor to lock the front door, then asked them to follow her as she climbed the stairs in the corner of the reception hall. Upstairs, she led them to a large room which contained a steel chair inside of an intricate ritual circle carved into the floor. Please sit, the receptionist told Sofia while she entered the adjacent room in which she could see through a window in the wall. The receptionist sat behind a weird contraption on the other side. The ritual circle lit up several times accompanied by strange clicking noises, then the receptionist came back with a notepad in hand. Please stay seated. First I will need to see the 4 top lines of your status. All right. The receptionist narrowed her eyes as she read the 4 lines. Name, Sofia Afinareth. Age 21. Class, Saintess. Level, 249. Oh, shit. Sofia Afinareth. Noted. One of the human ladies from 3 days ago had the same last name. Was that your sister? Sofia had a cold sweat when she heard the receptionist read her name out loud, and Leverla's head had snapped in her direction like a tracking spell as his body instinctively inched closer to the wall behind him. But he said nothing. My older sister, yes. Safe? She's not going to disappear, right? You do look a bit alike now that I know that. Humans are still a bit hard to differentiate from one another, I must admit, the receptionist complained, sighing lightly. Your age is locked? Is that an error? No, it's a feature. I no longer age. You can attribute that to my class. I bet you have never heard of it either. I have indeed not, but perhaps the older employees of this office have? I am the only one taking the late afternoon shift, though. I could search to see if we have any other Saintess registered, but that would take a while. You can request for it later if you want. This kind of registry inquiry is only a few silver, if your mithril ID gets accepted, that is. What's next, then? I'm done with the basics information, the receptionist explained. This is already enough for a gold tier ID, but there are more steps for mithril applications. I need to see your murder list next. That might be bad, there you go. The receptionist looked through the list for what felt like an eternity to Sofia, which was actually just a few seconds. No children, this is still an acceptable number for someone at your level. Were any of those Exidian citizens? No. This all happened on the human continent. All right. Next please, Lady Afinareth, disclose your existing citizenships or membership to political, religious, and commercial organizations. Sure, here is my vampire trader card, and my citizenship card from the Red Wines Empire. I also have this badge from the Saint Alliance, and am an honorary apostle of sorrow. My, that is a lot, the receptionist exclaimed. Please, give me an instant. Since the doctor is your guarantor, we can skip a few steps. Last but not least, I need to know the reason for your visit and how long you intend to stay. I am applying to be a teacher at the academy. If all goes well, I will stay for the entire school year. Teacher at Brythal? That's a prestigious position. I wish you good luck, Lady Afinareth. This is all I need. You can go wait in the hall downstairs. I will be back with your ID in a few minutes if your application is accepted. Leverla had been still as a statue for a while. His head slowly turned to follow Sofia as she stood up and walked up to him. Are we not going down like she said? We are going, he answered in a voice that seemed distant. Though strangely immobile, he followed her downstairs. I can already guess what's coming. Do you have an issue with my name? Sofia asked playfully as she stepped down the last set of steps. Leverla stopped in the middle of the stairs. I see. No mere coincidence, then. As I feared. I will not ask anything more. Truly worthy of the Calamity's apprentice. No need to be so scared. See, nothing happened to Elena. You speak of this all the while knowing the possible repercussions? How can you be so calm? Sofia brought out her scepter and shook it lightly. What can you say about that bell? She asked. It has a nice ring to it. Is that the origin of your confidence and name? Is it an artifact of the Lost Epoch? It cannot be identified. The Lost Epoch? Is that referring to whenever the Middenicid tables were made, maybe? It's nice to confirm he can hear the bell. I should start using it on everyone. That is a gift from Orman Cleith. After a long silence, Leverla only had 3 words to say, as he slowly finished going down the stairs, "This is madness." It took a quarter of an hour for the receptionist to show up again, a smile on her face. "I have your ID, Lady Afinareth." Sofia could see the small green card in the blue-skinned receptionist's hand. Oh, it was accepted, then. Indeed. It was approved by the Empress herself, as all mithril IDs should. "There you go, it's all yours." Elena held out the metallic green card with both hands. "Thank you. It is my pleasure. Please check that the information on it is all correct while I go fetch the rest of the package," Elena announced as soon as Sofia grabbed the card. It was tightly packed with data and even showed engravings of Sofia's face from the front and the side. Mithril rank ID N138. Sofia Afinareth. As of issuing. Human female. Yellow hair, blue eyes, white skin. Age 21, height 196 centimeters, weight 486 kilograms. Nobility rank, Baroness, foreign. Class ID, Saint, Benefactor Deity, Sorrow, level 249. No criminal records in Exidian. Guarantor. High Priest of Death's Church, Dr. Leverla, Mithrium N6. Wait, I never mentioned scripture. She just marked me as Saintess of Sorrow? I could understand a receptionist making that mistake, but the Empress validated that? Wasn't the Emperor supposed to be over level 500? There's no way his wife wouldn't have noticed this, right? Maybe she was too spooked by my name and approved without looking over the rest? Well, whatever. Let's just say it's all correct. Also, fucking hell. Half a ton? I'm wearing the anklet, too, so the real number is double that. It's a wonder I'm not breaking everything I touch. And everyone else is the same, for that matter. I suspect there's more at play here, because even if my steps are heavy, they're not that heavy. While Sofia had an existential crisis over weighing more than the average stone ogre, the receptionist came back with a stack of loose pages of paper. "Is your card all right?" she asked. "Yes, all good." "Nice. I brought you 2 maps, you have this one for the Empire and its surroundings, this one is the district of Exalta on one side and the location and names of major shops and places of interest on the other. The 14 other pages contain all the rights and laws that apply to you as a mithril-ranked foreigner. Please read them in detail when you have the time." "Will do." "Is that everything?" "Yes. I would offer help to find lodgings for your stay, but I assume that you do not need my assistance," the receptionist explained as she threw a look toward Leverla, who was already waiting near the door. "I should be all right." "Then we are good." "Oh right, does this card expire?" The receptionist shook her head. "The mithril rank IDs are valid for life, only the imperial couple may deliver or annul them." "Good to know. Thank you, sorry for keeping you on the job so late. Night is almost here already. I get a good commission on mithril IDs, so this is nothing." Elena went to open the door for them to leave. "I should be the one to thank you, actually, the bonus pay will be a real lifesaver. Have a nice stay in Exidian, Lady Afinareth. And it was nice to see you again, Doctor." Sofia and Leverla left, making a beeline for the academy. It mattered little that it was soon to be night, it was not like them nor the headmaster needed to sleep anyway. Chapter 303, Contemplations. Brythal Academy, the largest and tallest edifice of Exalta, standing proud at its very center. Its high towers dwarfed even the nearby Imperial Palace. The magical array barrier surrounding it was probably strong enough to withstand even Aredes' attacks, the cost of its upkeep likely to be in the tens of millions of mana. A single beastman guard was stationed at the entrance, a large castle-like gate, which was likely to be the only opening in the barrier. Unarmed, the armored dog-eared man was reading a book while sitting behind a small lectern. Hero, LV 438. The ears of the beastman rose from his book as Sofia and Leverla approached. Closing the book, he called out, "You must be the new teacher. Sonia, was it? Nice to see you again, Doc." "It's Sofia." "Nice to meet you, Sir Guard." "Caleb," Leverla informed Sofia. "It is I, indeed, Caleb the guard dog. Anyway, do you have your ID? Can't let you in without one. Even if you have an appointment." Sofia came closer to show her new ID card. Caleb quickly looked it over, looking impressed and nodding exaggeratedly. "Does seem you're the right person, the headmaster will meet you soon. Will you go inside with her, Doc?" "No need," he answered. You may come find me at the church if an issue crops up. It is also a good shelter, though lesser than the academy itself. I will check in periodically to make sure everything is all right, and someone will be following you whenever you leave the academy. That's a bit much, but I guess this is what Arete's paid for. If she believes I will need that protection, then I might as well take it. Sounds fine, thank you for the help until now, Leverla. Say nothing of it. Since I was paid to do it, you need not be thankful. Bidding farewell to Sofia and Caleb, Leverla simply walked away in the darkness of a nearby alleyway. There goes the document. Well. Do you need my help to get in? Caleb asked. Do I? Does the gate not open? Is phasing through it allowed? Phasing? The usual method is teleportation, but do try that, Caleb said with a wide smile. Is there no security magic or anything? This looks like a major weak point. Why even have the barrier? There is, but I get to decide who triggers it and who doesn't. I'm a shield mage. This whole barrier is my thing. Well, the design, at least. Alright then, I'm going through. Sofia advanced closer to the massive gate. Her graveyard skeletons managed to appear inside the gate, sticking their arms out to grab her in. No issues so far. Damn, this gate is like 10 meters thick. Hard to call it a gate at this point, it's just a block of enchanted steel. The graveyard skeleton gently let Sofia out on the other side. Caleb was right there, waiting for her, squatting and slowly wagging his tail. Interesting. You might still want to learn short-range teleportation during your time here, but that's a neat trick. Learn short-range teleportation, like one would learn identify? Somewhat? It's old magic, not really basic by the system stuff like identifying, though some students do choose to get it as a classless when it makes sense in their kit. For most, the wildcast version we teach is more than enough. Interesting. I'll be looking forward to learning that. I could definitely use the extra battle movement. Might wanna free up a classless slot then, Miss Saintess. The basic version is a bit slow, meant for young students after all. I'll think about it. Might be time to get rid of identify then. Unless that's a bad idea. Caleb tilted his head. How much do you trust your scribe, Miss Sonia? It's Sofia. A lot. Then if you're already able to wildcast it at level 2, just throw that shit to the dogs. Figuratively. The higher levels are really only useful to historians and aristans. If it's still level 1 though, might wanna keep it a bit longer. Level 2 already. Is level 3 that underwhelming? It just doubles down on the effects of tier 2. You get to have an easier time analyzing stuff what people are wearing and using, slightly longer range, and more info on stuff's properties like their estimated age or passive upkeep cost. Not bad but not great either. Alright, thanks for the advice, Sir Canub. Should I go find the headmaster now? No need. He be coming, for sure. No way he didn't see you enter. I'll get back to my job, you can wait for the mans here. Have a good one, Sonia. The man barked once and disappeared. Weird.nov, l/b//jnn. Alone on the other side of the gate, Sofia now had some time to observe her environment. The entrance to Brythal was an open-air rectangular courtyard with a fountain in the middle, decorated by the statue of a young Exidian in long robes holding up a blazing torch. There were also wooden benches on the sides. The stone-paved floor was old and covered in muddy footprints, which was odd considering there had been no rain the entire time that Sofia had been in the capital. This is probably used as a gathering place of some sort. Next, Sofia's gaze was attracted by the high towers above. Just the buildings around her, creating that small courtyard, were already several floors tall. And on top sat more extensions and towers, sprouting like mushrooms in a thicket. This reminded Sofia of the Chich's cloistered garden. I wonder if they ever found the ritual circle I used for the rat parith. Not that it would matter. The entire church had probably been wiped by Scripture's mind parasites by now. Is Einstein doomed? Scary as a whole? I hope Izuka is alright. Maybe she grabbed her princess friend and escaped. I hope she did, she was nice. Saria and everyone are already inside, right? I wonder where the dorms are. Astelia did say I would have a private room as a teacher. What do you think? Awe-inspiring, isn't it? The voice came from a bearded old Exidian whose presence and arrival Sofia hadn't noticed at all. The headmaster. Belligenus the Great Sage. A dragon on Arete's level. No matter what, This power sent a small chill down Sofia's spine. But his presence wasn't hostile. Quite, yes. Was the layout inspired by the moonlit castle? You have a good eye. The young vampire noticed it too, although that would have been an obvious outcome in her case. Why this style in particular? It's not quite the same as the rest of the city's architecture. Even if mostly similar. Have you seen it with your own eyes? The old Exidian asked. The moonlit castle? Yes. I also saw the small one on the moon. No wonder the Guardian and Death's Son both showed up, then. I had thought your backer to be only Vilek years young. But never mind that. Tell me, human, what did you feel when you first laid your eyes upon the gargantuan moonlit castle the vampires occupy? Wonder? Awe? Disbelief maybe? I just remember being astonished that such a place could even exist, Sofia answered, trying her best to recall the time she spent with Astelia atop the gigantic structure that spanned further than the horizon. Right? As a dragon, I have a different sense of scale. Yet, when I first saw it, my reaction was the same. Who could have been mad enough to build this? For what purpose? But no matter what, impressive it was. Something one can always remember as greater than, defying all common sense. And the goal for the Academy's design was to replicate that feeling? Sofia asked, looking up at the highest tower. Yes. I wanted it to be a pillar of the magic world. A place standing tall and mighty, so that its students know not to give up when they face hardship. That it stands as a testament of the greatness sufficient hard work and understanding can bring. Sofia paused and thought for a few seconds. Pondering her next words carefully. Then is that message not a bit lost, considering you founded this place, and you, as a dragon, were born naturally smart and strong? Wielder of powerful magic by birth? The headmaster nodded silently. For the first time he looked at Sofia. But I did not build this place. It was entirely built by my first batch of students. Ones who started weak and lost. You've already met one of them. Caleb is one of the original students of the Academy? Indeed, he confirmed, before going right back to staring at the high towers of the Academy above. He was still a young teenager when he was summoned, in the early days of the system. Everyone was still barely figuring out the entire Saint situation. I took him under my wings, like many others. So Brythal Academy is about 3,000 years old? 3,000 on the dot this year, Belligenus confirmed, a hint of pride in his otherwise calm voice. Congratulations! That's actually impressive, even for a dragon, isn't it? He's been teaching for 3,000 years straight. Now that's dedication to one's craft. I can respect that. Thank you. That does it for the oral part of the test. Are you ready for the written and practical exams? Not just anyone is allowed to be a teacher under my supervision, no matter how exceptional your backers may be. That was a test already? I might be getting a little too comfortable with speaking casually to just about anyone. I am always ready. Chapter 304, Sticks and Stones. Out of everything that Sofia had expected to be doing on her first night at the Academy, sitting alone at a desk in an empty classroom with a pencil and a sheet of questions wasn't what she had expected. The paper was also heavily enchanted. Sofia could tell that much. So far, it only said. Question 1, what are 3 things a good teacher should always strive for? 3 things? The only really good teacher I've had was Sun's Oracle. But I'm not quite sure his training methods are what Belligenus is looking for. I should just write common sense stuff, I guess? A1, the safety of their students. Making sure the teachings are both understood by and useful to them. To continue to learn and become a better teacher. That should do it. A few seconds after Sofia stopped writing, the page became blank again. And a new question came to replace the previous one. Question 2, how many spells can one learn? Is that some kind of trick question? A2, as many as their body and mind can handle. Right? Question 3, you come across a sapient troll trying to summon a demon by drawing circles in the sand, what do you do? Weird question but sure. A3, explain that demons cannot be summoned. Question 4, 2 summoners have a friendly bet, they will let their summons fight without directing them. Between 3 clay golem swordsmen and 1 haunting spectre, who will win? Ah, now this one is for sure a trick question. A4, no one. Golems can't be possessed, as far as I know. And if their summoner can only make 3 swordsmen, it's likely they have no elemental magic capable of damaging the spectre. So that would be a draw. Lots of hypotheticals, but the question is like this to begin with. Question 5. How many elves does it take to plant 28 palm trees in a monolith desert in 2 days? Really? The questions were already a bit strange until now, but what does this have to do with anything? Nobody answered. Well shit. A5, I'm sure Oracle Sundered Skies could do it by himself in less than 2 days. The following questions were all of the same type, weird open-ended scenarios that could never have a proper answer. Either because they were too vague in what they asked, did not provide proper data, or were barely legible in the first place. Still, Sofia pushed through, trying her best to answer even the stupidest questions somewhat seriously, until the paper became blank again and stayed that way. I'm done? That sure was tiring. Someone will come after I'm done, right? With nothing better to do, Sofia brought out the Book of Skeleton to summon her favorite crow and spent the next while playing with it as well as trying to make a bone replica of its magnificent figure. Her repertoire of pets felt a bit weaker with the rat and dog both gone. Maybe I should get a cat. Or a lizard. Actually, what about a snake? I don't know, a lot of Crowie's appeal is how smart he is. What other smart small animals are there? The ultimate book summon would be a dragon, right? But considering all I've learned now, getting a full dragon skeleton seems pretty impossible. Even if I could somehow find the remains of a long dead one, going grave robbing looks like a good way to end up also in the cemetery. Unless I find a skeleton so old they have basically no living family left, but that sounds like a stretch, considering how old they can live. Well, I'll see. Who knows? Surely I can get one to donate their Asen store's bones or something. I got 5 of Sun's essences, so a dead dragon doesn't sound too far-fetched. Quite the interesting conversation to hold with oneself. My advice on the matter would be to wait until the right opportunity comes. Many a necromancer has fallen in their thirst for power, Belly Genus chimed in from behind, as if he had always been there. Of course Sofia hadn't heard or sensed him coming at all once again. Aha, it's not Nov, L, B / JNN. There is no shame in seeking power. I will not chastise you, I know what your right arm is made of, it does not disturb me. Do you know, young girl, who mostly use the remains of us dragons for the purpose of war? Dragons. That is so, yes. As such, you can be at ease with these topics, it is but a natural ramification of being the strongest species, Belly Genus confirmed. And the scarcity of such remains is a consequence of the low population, which is another natural outcome. Low population and low death rate. There must be around 100 of us still alive currently. In a way, this is a large amount. In others, this is terribly low. That being said, there were times in the past where dragons were numerous. Our species was once prosperous, or so the legends say. There won't be much left on the surface, but to this day, we sometimes discover relics of those times deep underground. You simply must be willing to go where no one else was. Like, say, in the depths under a certain leviathan? That is a very good guess. I would say that there is a high certainty of finding countless interesting things down there, should anyone manage to reach them alive. However, the sea monster is not one to be trifled with. Now, shall we start your practical evaluation? Let us finish those formalities before the sun rises. Fine with me. The headmaster led Sofia to an underground arena, pointing out the function of the different facilities they walked through. Explaining that even if she failed to become a teacher he would still gladly take her in as a student. So the arena is right below the open training grounds. Does the barrier extend to the underground too? Sofia asked as she entered the place that oddly looked a lot like the arena in which she had held her first meeting with Velour. Of course. Most of the underground space covered by the barrier is being used. The academy grounds are much larger under than above. There are numerous specialized training facilities and other such places. They were gradually added by the new generations of students. We even have an artificial dungeon in there where first years can try their skills against gemites and get their first levels. Gemites? Natural quartz golems. They are quite cute and relatively harmless, dumb as rocks. Interesting, I hope I'll get to see them. You do? Well, you're in luck. Belly Genus held his right fist out in front of him, his long blue fingers with sharp nails unfurling, magic whirled in the palm of his hand. A massive figure appeared mid-air in the arena, it fell with great force. The landing of the creature shook the arena. It roared, and Belly Genus laughed. This is your test, a level 299 gemite. Try not to break the arena too much, and remember the subject you are meant to teach. The wide colossus of crystal was about 12 meters tall and almost as large. With raised arms he would be able to touch the ceiling of the arena, and easily occupied a good tenth of its area. Its vaguely humanoid figure was made of an amalgam of countless quartz crystals the size of an arm, all grouped around one tall core hexagonal prism that only stuck out at the top of the gemite's body like a flat head. Perith came out by himself, and the headmaster did not react. The subject I am meant to teach being summoner combat strategies, he wants me to put on a good show with all the summons. I hope he doesn't need me to kill the thing. A level 299 without the bolts and rot might be a bit much. In fact, a level 299 in general is a bit much. I'm pretty sure now that the Orvad I fought in the first trial wasn't quite as strong as he should have been. And I only got him because I managed to land an instant kill skill. If I am to be honest, I would hardly consider this cute, Sofia commented as her armor formed over her body. The big ones are not quite as lovely, that I will concede. However, they are still very much at the same intellect level. It is really just waiting like a rock inside of the arena. It's a wonder how it can roar and why it even did if it wasn't going to attack. I kinda wish I had time to put on a rune or two. Well, whatever. Scepter ready, armor ready, bookie ready. Let's go. The second Perith's sanctified grounds flared up, illuminating the floor of the arena. He and Sofia jumped in. Opening the Book of Skeletons, Sofia ripped out 3 pages at once. Let me show you the power of skeletons. Chapter 305, Won't Break My Bones. The arena was no longer quite as empty. Bookie's fog rolled down, spreading like a tidal wave, summoning a small army of skeletons. From the fog came the 25 paladins, 3 templars, and the high priest. Countless heads and hands clawed their way out of the ground. The graveyard skeletons wouldn't be able to stop the giant, but they could allow the other skeletons to dive into the ground and safely move around the battlefield. Mana, 331 750/417 100. Next is the Skull Choir. A wall of 51 sandworm skulls appeared around Sofia. As waved her staff around, they moved to aim where she pointed. I can maintain that for almost 3 minutes. That's plenty, I only need to immobilize it. The Colossus of Crystal just now realized it had been surrounded. It started walking in Sofia's direction. Perith, take aggro. Paladins spread around the arena, coordinated slash of light on the left leg. Templars, start channeling Holy Smite. Priest, keep the Templars alive. When Perith charged, the Colossus answered with a surprisingly fast right-handed punch. His feet planted into the arena's ground. Perith blocked the hit, losing about 15% of his health. The paladins used their skill, and a flurry of swords of light impacted the monster's left leg on the same spot. The damage was minimal, barely denting the crystal, but it was a start. Attack. The sandworm skulls had been charging up, light building inside of their tubular structures. Under Sofia's command, they followed the aim of her staff, and unleashed their energy beams in unison. The attack rays hit the place the paladins had damaged. Again, the damage was underwhelming, but present. The energy beams would last for 3 seconds before the skulls needed to stop and charge up again. Meanwhile, Perith jumped as high as he could to avoid the follow-up hit coming from the second hand. Yet, again, the monster was much faster than his massive figure would make one believe, and Perith was hit again. This time, however, he took no damage, and was propelled toward the ceiling. The paladins were charging their second wave of slash of light. Temporarily rid of Perith, the gemite changed its target to the closest paladin, crushing it underfoot. Taking another step forward, it tried to crush another, but found nothing to crush once its giant crystalline leg touched ground. The graveyard skeletons, given sufficient time by the death of the first paladin, had brought this one and all the nearest ones underground. Perith had hit the ceiling of the arena feet first and sprung back down, his huge sword aiming for the gemite's massive hexagonal head. Half of the sword penetrated into the flat top of the head, prompting the monster to try to crush the pesky skeleton on its head. It was too fast for Perith to move safely out of the way. He could only teleport to Sofia or brace himself and try to absorb the impact of this mountain of crystal coming his way. To Sofia's surprise, he stood there, a foot against his large sword mimicking Morn's to prevent it from disappearing. Taking a low stance, his arms rose up to intercept the giant's hand coming from above. Still directing the choir's attack, Sofia observed as Perith squashed under the immense weight, his health dwindling in 10% chunks as his bones started giving out one by one. The lower the hand forced him, the deeper it pushed Perith's sword inside the crystal like a big nail stuck in a log. Perith disappeared right before the final moment, reappearing right behind Sofia. As he fell, he used greater heal on himself, instantly repairing his entire skeleton and ready to charge forward the second he touched ground. The big hand of the crystal giant fell on its own head in a loud bang. In this time, the paladins launched another wave of ranged attacks right as the choir's beams faded, further damaging the left leg, which started to have a visible dent. The fight continued like this for a few rounds, with Perith being more careful, only attacking from behind, using the graveyard skeletons to his advantage to force the Colossus to turn around to follow him. He led the Gemite around the arena, giving clear shots to the paladins when he could, while Sofia micromanaged the paladins' positionment from above while directing the skull choir. Belligenus silently watched the battle unfold. Eventually, as Sofia's mana dwindled, she cancelled the choir. The Templar's Holy Smite was ready. She activated the third level of Runeforged Overlord right as she ordered the coordinated attack to activate. For the first time she was going to witness the renowned signature attack of the Templars. Perith's chains of the four seals locked onto the weakened leg of the monster as a tumultuous vortex of mana gathered above its head. Holy Smite is the trump card of the church which calls down the overwhelming light of the gods above. Despite all the movement of the Gemite and the skeletons, the arena became void of any sound. In this fleeting moment of eerie silence on the battlefield, Sofia wondered for the first time, which god? It should be the skeleton's god. Scripture? Surely not. Orator, Nov, L, B /JNN. Unlikely. Then who? An uncanny, lumpy wave of sticky magic crashed down from the vortex. It was invisible to the naked eye, but Sofia could see it through her mana senses. It instantly washed over the entire arena, filling it from top to bottom like the sudden appearance of an ocean trying to fit into a small vase. It was cold, suffocating, nauseating. It attacked Sofia's health, reducing it by thousands every instant until Perith caught her and shielded her inside of his armor. All of the book's skeletons fell to this wave of mana miasma, but the damage was low enough that Perith's damage reduction effect completely negated it for him. The Gemite crumbled under its own weight, his massive body crumbling and dissociating into a gigantic messy pile of quartz crystal. Sofia missed the message alerting her of its death, her notification log was going too fast. In the few instants she had been in contact with the cold mana, she had received thousands of alerts. You have been affected by instant death. But your skills negated the status. You have been affected by instant death. But your skills negated the status. You have been affected by instant death. But your skills negated the status. You have been affected by instant death. But your skills negated the status. You have been affected by instant death. But your skills negated the status. The vortex was already visibly weakening, but it would be a while until it stopped. Belligenus snapped, and all mana in the surroundings disappeared. Well, this was certainly something, Belligenus said, sounding pleasantly surprised. I did not expect you to actually kill it, dumb as it was, it still had over 50 million health. But opening a pathway directly to Death's domain certainly would do it. Ah, yes, exactly what I meant to do. Not. I almost died as well. I couldn't do shit to escape this weird mana wave except to rely on Perith's help. Even the Ring of Zar wouldn't have saved me, its area of effect isn't nearly large enough to cleanse the whole arena like he did, it would have just collapsed on me again. To be perfectly honest, this is not exactly what I had expected either. And thank the lords he has protection against instant death. I mean, of course he does, but what if he didn't? The result is the same anyway, I believe your talents have proved to be sufficient for the job. Let us clean this up and we can set you up for the start of the school year in 4 days. Ah. Can I take the crystals? Belligenus raised an eyebrow. Is your storage item that wide? This is several hundred tons. Oh, I won't store it. I will use it for necromancy. Cryst. Please do, Teacher Valkyria. I am curious to see that. Alright, this is the name Zephyr used in the introductory letter. Afinareth felt a bit too dangerous to use. Even if thanks to my mistake with the receptionist I know for sure it's fine, now. Sofia didn't move, she summoned Bookie who she could feel was begging for the crystals, and threw it at the humongous pile of shiny rocks. The Book of Skeletons opened and its flight stopped right above the remains of the Gemite. Its pages facing down, it sucked in the crystals. Their matter was dilated and stretched into a thin filament that spiraled into the open pages. The speed kept going up for a few seconds until nothing was left of the 1,000 tons of quartz. The book closed, and fell to the ground. Then it opened slightly and its pages rustled before it closed back down. It burped. I am at a loss for words, Beligenis admitted. Even an old dragon is amazed by orator's handiwork. As it should. Sofia unsummoned Bookie and summoned it back from her hand. On the new page was a large drawing of the gemite, though it seemed to lack most of the small crystals. There were only 9 big chunks of quartz, a giant one for the main body, and 2 smaller ones for each limb. Above it was etched an outrageous number, 10,000,000. Nodding to herself, Sofia turned the book for Beligenis to see. She held it up with a smile. Thank you for your generosity, headmaster. Look, this is my new skeleton. Remarkable. Chapter 306, It's a Small World. Beligenis led Sofia to his office at the very top of the academy where they discussed the terms of her contract. The main meat of the job was taking care of a class of 5th-year summoning class students. In Belinu's terms, a group of 5 16-year-old kids who all picked a class early and were preparing for trying to reach level 100 and clearing their first trial. Sofia's job was to make each of them into a capable summoner-type fighter. Of course there would be other teachers giving them classes on close combat and such things, it wasn't all on Sofia's shoulders. She would spend 2 hours with that class 4 times a week for most of the year. Each hour of class was paid 100 gold and credit for an hour as a student in another class of the academy. There would be other events throughout the year, but the headmaster said he would elaborate at another time as these were to be one-time side jobs with bonus pay. Sofia would also have to hold a public class every month, where she would spend the entire day sharing her general knowledge, demonstrating her skills and answering questions. Anyone even from outside of the academy could attend these for a fee. This was something all the teachers of the academy took turns doing, and supposedly the occasion to make connections with the other teachers and powerful people of the empire along with some extra money. After Sofia signed all the papers and shook hands with the headmaster, a strict-looking Exidian woman wearing a deep blue finely tailored suit entered the office. Master, you called? She asked, replacing her square glasses on her nose. Mage, LV 400+. Aren't these male clothes? I wonder what that would look like on me. Beryl, please introduce teacher Valkyria here to her quarters. She is Eltiel's replacement, Beligenis explained. Beryl gave Sofia a look over with narrowed eyes. I was starting to think I would have to teach that class myself. You are going to need new clothes. Lady Valkyria, then? I am Beryl Deathmarch, Academy Coordinator and your direct superior. You may refer to me whenever you have any question or concern relating to your position, she introduced herself with a straight face. Ominous name. Nice to meet you. Are my current clothes not suitable? Beryl shook her head, the swaying of the silver accessories dangling from her horns was strangely hypnotizing. Blonde hair, blue eyes, green robe, gold accessories, and an armored blue arm. Need I say more? Teachers should at least follow basic color coordination. You need to be someone the students can look up to in all aspects and not be ashamed to be around. It's not that bad, come on, I'm not even wearing the crown. But I guess the Saint set is maybe a bit much? I like the 4-piece energizing set bonus though. It was a bit perplexing that the description was a single word at first, but it does do that. I got used to it now, it feels weird to take it off. I cannot really take off my magical items. But I can do away with the robe, if you can help me find something with similar functions. Beryl walked around Sofia, observing her from closer. I see. Self-repair and other basic effects. Was this a reward from your first trial? I will introduce you to our clothier later, you can pay him up front or have the cost deducted from your salary, he is more than capable of reproducing such basic enchantments. This was a trial reward, yes. Before Sofia could elaborate further, Beryl stopped her and walked to the door. Let us not bore the headmaster to death with such subjects. This way, I will show you to your private quarters within the academy. Oh, all right, sure. Beligenis stood up to send the ladies off. He had some last words for Sofia. It is a pleasure to count you among our teachers in Brythal, Miss Valkyria. Though seemingly strict and rather cold in her demeanor, Sofia could tell that Beryl cared deeply about the academy as she gave her a quick tour of the premises through the meandering corridors of Brythal. It was a lot to take in all at once, but Sofia managed to at least remember in what aisle her classroom was supposed to be. And this is the teacher's tower. You have the entire 14th floor for yourself, here is the key. There are a few rules about your usage of the lodgings that you will find in a booklet inside, nothing one wouldn't expect, Beryl explained as she handed a thick silver key to Sofia. Is it already furnished? The bare minimum bedding and amenities, you are free to arrange and decorate it how you see fit. That's great. What about the clothier? I can bring you to him later today or tell him that you will be waiting for him in your room. Is it fine to ask for him to come? I could really spend some time making this place a bit better. Of course. It will be done, please do not leave your lodgings until then, Teacher Vakaria. Most of the other teachers have yet to arrive, so the tower might feel a bit lifeless, as does the entire academy. I would suggest that you invest this time in a good rest and sleep. This peace and quiet will not last. The necessary explanations were over, and Sofia was left alone in the hall of the teacher's tower. This was a space for teachers to relax with couches and tea tables. It was still and silent. Finally alone, I'm sure she means well, but people like her are tiring to be around. Sofia played with the heavy key in her hand. It was enchanted, one could tell at a glance. The teachers' rooms were each protected by their own barriers that only these keys could safely open. The small first-floor landing was decorated with fake plants and grass. It felt like someone had tried to recreate the ambience of a small swamp around the door. The nameplate above the door gave the teacher's name. Floor 1, Teacher Akin O'Ariad, Advanced Polymorphism. Strange name, and strange discipline too. Climbing the floors one by one, Sofia looked at the nameplates near the doors. The second floor was a lot cleaner, it looked a bit like the inside of a church with carved stones and hanging ropes. Floor 2, Teacher Eurodrim, Engineering and Architecture. Sounds like a dwarven name. Engineering I wonder what they'd think of my engineer skeleton. The third floor's landing was almost undecorated, there were only two small round carpets, one on each side of the door, red on right and blue on the left. Floor 3, Teacher Istin, a red lamp, Offensive Magic and Dueling Magic. This one must be pretty popular. How many floors does this tower have to be able to give a whole floor to each teacher? The headmaster's tower had a lift, so I'm not too sure how many floors it was. Maybe 30? Climbing the stairs to the fourth floor, Sofia wondered what the decorations would be for this one, and was surprised to find it completely empty. Floor 4, Teacher Astelia Glacier, Spatial Magic. Oh, nice. That explains why there's nothing. I'll have to come back here and say hi after I'm done checking my place out. I wonder how she will decorate the place. I'm guessing each teacher does their own thing. The fifth floor's decorations had nothing to do with the teaching subject, being that there were only a bunch of blue and violet potted flowers all around. Smells good. Floor 5, Teachers Ami and Umi Blancher, Fencing and Archery. Sisters in the same room, I guess? Could Saria move in with me? She's probably sharing a student room with Cynthia, I think. Astelia can probably tell me where these are. Climbing up another row of curved stairs, Sofia felt some part of what was coming before even seeing it. Bones? It turned out to be a skeleton in a display case. There were also bookshelves filled with old tomes and a sign that said in bright red letters, "Bring back the books after reading them or I'll make you a brainless ghoul, you have been warned." Floor 6, Teacher Eternam Aoldun, Necromancy and Alchemy. Oh, hey. I feel like the class credits I'm going to get will be worth more than the gold. I'm definitely checking the necromancy class. The next floor's decoration was also books, though much fewer. There were 8 of them, each on their own lectern. Floor 7, Teacher Sec, Ancient Languages. Nice to have around. For a magic academy, the subjects they teach here are quite varied. I guess these books are in all the languages they teach? 8 is a lot. Sofia was still lost in her thoughts about the ancient languages she knew about when her eyes went over the plaque of the 8th floor. What she read stopped her dead in her tracks. Floor 8, Teacher Jennifer Seller, Monster Hunting. Chapter 307, Bone Home. Seller was Sofia and Saria's name from their father's side. It was a name they had been denied after their mother died and their father married another woman of nobler status. In another world, this might have been a tragic story, but to Sofia, it was all just the recollections of her older sister. She barely remembered her mother, while her father was but a distant and blurry image in her memory. They were both dead anyway. Still, when faced with someone sharing her birth name, Sofia was intrigued. It could be a coincidence, had been her first thought. But then she read it again. Jennifer. Sofia clearly remembered the strange sensation of looking at a different version of herself when she met the tall blonde warrior woman in the mercenary group that helped her escape the castle in her first trial. She had been a muscular woman wielding a large claymore, and she had a strong accent. Most importantly, her name was Jen. There is no way. Right? Like hypnotized, Sofia walked up to the door and knocked twice. No one answered. She knocked again, and the answer again was a heavy silence. No one home. Well. I'll have to come back to this later. Might as well bring Saria too. Even if we're really related, that would be like an ancestor of several generations, no? But to think that I met her in the trial. Sofia was a bit too lost in her thoughts as she climbed the floors. When she looked at a nameplate again it read. Floor 15, Teacher Caleb Whitehound, Barrier and Defensive Magic. Oh, I've gone too high. So this guy isn't just the Academy's doormat. He did say he was a shield mage, so he lives on the floor right above mine. Sofia turned around and was finally on her own floor. There was no decoration, but the nameplate was already there. Floor 14, Teacher Sofia Valkyria, Summoner Combat Strategies. It's interesting that they kept my name as Valkyria everywhere. I'm sure Belly Genus knows about my actual name, Caleb has even seen my ID. Well, it is better like this. Even if Afinareth is safe when it references me, better safe than sorry. Bringing her silver key to the door, Sofia had to wait for the magic barriers to unlock one by one. The magic only showed up when they were brought to life like this, and it was pretty impressive. These barriers felt almost as strong as the one protecting the academy from the outside. I don't think I could break through these even with a big bolt, that's some pretty serious security. If I'm actually in any kind of danger, hiding in there might be my best bet until Leverla comes to protect me. After 20 seconds of the complex magic locks of the layered barriers opened one by one, the door finally unlocked. Sofia entered and closed behind her, the barrier instantly closing back up. At least it's only opening that slow. Damn, that's spacious. Quite a few windows, a big main room and doors to other rooms on both sides. The bed in the main room though? It looks oddly like the Chich's room with only a bed in the middle of a large empty space. The walls look much nicer than cold marble though. It's the Exidian style with polished wood on the lower half and stone on the upper half just like the ID registration office. What's this thing? Light switch, press to turn on the light stone arrays embedded in the ceiling. Nov, L, B /JNN. Sofia was stunned by the sudden discovery of button-controlled ritual circles. She pressed the button several times, watching the light appear and disappear. I'm easily entertained. I have not been doing much in the way of trying to have fun lately. Maybe it's time to stock up on books again. After inspection, it looked like the side rooms were a small study with empty bookshelves, a kitchen stocked up with some dried food, a bathroom, and a storage room. Too bad I left most of Zangdar's furniture in my secret mountain base. I never even went back there. Well, maybe I'll go back someday. But for now. Sofia summoned the engineer and the broom elf skeletons to help her decorate the house. She knew Perith wouldn't be of any help for that job. Wait, wasn't there one more elven skeleton? Oh, yeah there was. I never checked what it was. Come out buddy, let's see what you're made of. Solar Mage, LV 249. Right, well. You can help the nun shine up the floor I guess. While two of the skeletons got busy cleaning the place, which was already decently clean, Sofia got to work making bone planks, screws and nails for the engineer to process into functional furniture. It was much faster to offload the work to him than to try to figure out boring stuff like sliding rails, door hinges, and such parts by herself. All she had to do was to tell him the name of what she wanted. The room quickly filled up with featureless bone furniture. When Sofia felt there was enough raw matter ready for the engineer to process, she switched to adding detail to the ready pieces with bone dominus. She tried her best to replicate the flowery vegetal patterns she had noticed which seemed to be popular in the Exidian Empire. In a few hours, as the sun slowly worked its way up over the horizon, Sofia turned the mostly empty room into a homely place with a bunch of functional furniture and a lot of decorative nonsense. The best part in her opinion was the series of pedestals near the entrance with miniature statues of people. So far she had only made Saria, Alith, Perith, and Aredes, but this already looked extra nice to her, and now she wanted to make a whole set with everyone she had ever met. This would take some time, but now that she had a fine enough control of bone dominus, it was really exhilarating to be able to make whatever she wanted. Looking at her new home for the next year, Sofia felt proud but unsatisfied. It was too white with everything made of bones. There was too little contrast. I really need to add some color. Should I work on coloring the bones with Dominus? I did find how to do that with the armor back then, surely it cannot be too hard. With that in mind, Sofia resolved to at least go out to buy colorful carpets, curtains and wall ornaments soon, to bring some life to this home of hers. Oh, I need to decorate the entrance too. Sofia heard some knocking on the door. The clothier? I'm coming. She answered, unsure whether the person on the other side could even hear her considering all the magical protections still up around the place. She jumped to the door and opened it. There was no need to use the key to unlock it from the inside, but it still took just as long. Finally the lock clicked and Sofia opened the door. A red-haired stout dwarf in a formal black suit with black glasses was not what Sofia expected, but it was what she got. Artisan, LV 300+. Oh lord, if that isn't a gorgeous new teacher, your proportions are nothing to joke about, it's good that I brought all my stuff. May I come in? Hi, the clothier, I suppose? At least he's not hiding his thoughts at all. Indeed, lady. Beryl sent me, said you needed a few new outfits. And I dare say she was right if this is how you usually dress. Wait, is that a dragon scale? Sofia smirked. Oh, you have a good eye behind those glasses, Come in, let's sit down. The dwarf followed and closed the door behind him. Suddenly Sofia felt a bit uncomfortable about being locked in with someone stronger than herself, but surely this person wouldn't dare try anything funny. Name's Altemir, but everyone just calls me the clothier around here, so don't bother remembering that stuff. I ain't gonna pry about the dragon scale, but I sure as hell would love to have a look at some point. You have an interesting taste for decoration. I'm sure you and Eternam will be good friends, but well, none of my business. Now, what kinda clothes do you want, pretty lady? I'm not really sure. I see. Give me a second. Altemir stood up, walked a few steps to an empty space in the middle of the room, and started unloading racks and racks of female clothing from a spatial storage item. There were robes, tunics, shirts, skirts, anything and everything in all colors and sizes, even some leather armors. Should be all what's relevant. Do you want to look around for the kind of style you like, or should I show you what I think would look good on you? You're the expert, Sofia answered with a shrug. Alright, what's your stance on exposed skin? Ankles, arms, shoulders, open back? Cleavage? The dwarf asked, already rummaging through the hundreds of hanging outfits he had produced. I don't like having my belly exposed, but everything else I don't really care either way as long as it looks normal. Quite lax, I reckon you're gonna be very popular among the male students, the dwarf commented. Let me see what I have for you. Chapter 308, Say Cheese. Holding up a deep blue robe matching the arm harness, the dwarf narrowed his eyes. This would probably be the best base for work clothes, an ample robe, comfortable, discreet, can be worn at home and outside. A basic but good choice all around, he explained. Why not? It looks a bit boring honestly. Well, of course, this is just a base template. Since you wear a lot of gold, I'm thinking I can add some golden embroidery. I'll also get you a matching shawl and sapphire earrings, and an opaque white pantyhose, that's an important detail. You can keep using that one white glove you're wearing. Do you also need shoes? I only have those. Alright, so you do need shoes. That all sounds fine. I guess how much would I owe you? The dwarf, who was frantically running around picking stuff from his racks of clothes and accessories, stopped suddenly, slowly turning his head to look at Sofia. He reached for his glasses and lifted them, looking at Sofia in the eyes. Young lady, what do you mean? We're just getting started. I'm not leaving until you have at least 5 complete outfits. Don't be ridiculous. Can I really afford that? Lady, the armor on your right arm could buy everything I own 100 times over. You don't exactly strike me as someone unable to afford some proper clothes. Fair point. Next outfit then? If you trust me with this one, then yes. I'll do the fitting and enchanting later. I assume none of your outfits need to include a right sleeve? Right. Oh, I usually wear this crown, too. Does that change anything? The clothier observed the crown for a moment. Just don't wear it in the Imperial Palace if you can help it. Besides that, it's just more gold, so no big deal, fits well with the rest. No crown in the palace, noted. That might be disrespectful to the Emperor, I guess. Makes sense. Then can I request something more practical next? Just something easy to move around in to wear under my armor. Oh, sure thing. Do you need it padded or light? No need for any padding. Just a sturdy white shirt and black pants then. Can't go wrong with the basics. I'll make sure the self-repair on this one is the fast-acting kind. Next I can get you something that's currently popular amongst the Exidian nobility. Are you sure this isn't a bit too You're the one who said you were fine with some cleavage, it's nothing excessive. It might look like a lot of exposed skin from above, but we can't see shit from below, and you're pretty tall, so unless you bend over there ain't going to be a lot of watchers. Unless it's the split long skirt that bothers you? No, it's yeah, you're right, whatever. Everyone's already looking anyway, so it's not like this would make it any worse. Can you make it with an open back? Actually, can you make them all with an open back? I'm used to having my wings out at this point, might as well. The clothier was a bit taken aback at the sudden appearance of a pair of bone wings behind Sofia, but his mind was already at work on the task. All of them? No, that won't do. This one and the court robe, yes, but it wouldn't look good on the other ones. I can make openings for the wings like I do for winged beastmen though. Fine with that. Great, so all we're left with are the accessories for this one. Do you usually not style your hair? Not really. It's either out like this or tied in a low bun inside my helmet. Then to go with this outfit, I recommend a ponytail. I will get you some high heels too, you don't have to use them but they would complement the style well. Black tights are a must and it would look even better with glasses, but that's not something people of our level usually need. Glasses? I think I have that in a corner of my storage actually here. Sofia brought out the glasses without lenses that Alith had won out of her first batch of gachapon boxes. Sofia had ended up with them because they were too wide to even fit properly on Alith's head. Oh. That's perfect. Yes. You're going to be absolutely gorgeous. Stunning. Though in this case it would be better without the armored arm. It's not like I cannot take it off. But, I don't plan on seducing anyone, so this all might be a bit wasted. The dwarf shook his head. Wasted? No waste here, the only thing being wasted is your natural beauty in this dreary green robe. Even if you're not going after anyone, the most important part is how much you value yourself. A good appearance gives strong confidence. Clothes are for the wearer, first and foremost. Alright. I think these 6 outfits are enough. How much is it and when will it be ready? Sofia asked, dreading the price she might be asked to pay. She had absolutely no idea how much gold she even had, which was a bad start. For a new teacher you're pretty nice. I'll give you a friendly price, 10,000 for the whole lot. I don't even know if this is a lot anymore. Do I have that? Sofia looked at the pile of gold in a far corner of her storage space. Suddenly remembering that she had completely robbed the gold storage vault thing of the solar temple in space. Oh. 10,000 might be a lot but this has to be several hundred thousands just in ingots. I think money isn't an issue. I still have the mithril shield too, that has to be worth a huge load of money just in raw mithril. There you go, Sofia unceremoniously declared, dropping piles and piles of 10 gold ingots on the ground. How long will it take for you to make all the adjustments, Nov, L, B//JNN? About 2 hours. Less if you let me work on it here. Also I need to see your feet. Excuse me? What, do you think the shoes will magically come at the correct size? Oh, right. That isn't too far-fetched, though, is it? The dwarf shrugged. No, but that would cost you extra. Alright, taking off my boots, do you not need the measurements of the rest of my body proportions? Usually they measure with tape. No need, I have a skill for that. Just doesn't extend to the feet yet. Getting into shoemaking was a personal endeavor outside of my class original skill set. How does a clothier even fight? Sofia was too curious not to ask. Did he wave huge scissors around like Perith used once against Morn? We have our ways, at low levels it's thread manipulation, mostly. Kind of like all the races of magic spiders. We also have the advantage of being able to adapt our gear to pretty much any situation. It's a lot of planning. What about you? I know all saints have different gimmicks depending on the patron god. I summon skeletons. The dwarf looked around again at the entire bone-made furniture and at Sofia's wings. Somehow I'm not surprised, the summoning class students sure are in for a special ride this time, aren't they? I don't even know how I'm going to go about teaching anything to them yet. But I can't deny that. You'll do just fine, headmaster doesn't recruit just anybody. And lastly for this one, it felt like a waste to remove the sleeve, so I enchanted it to be retractable. When you wear your arm guard this'll fold up and become a ribbon behind your waist, the red-haired dwarf explained as he activated the magic to show Sofia the ribbon. Oh? That's nice, thank you. I think this is my favorite design out of the lot honestly. That's so? Short skirts like these are still not very popular among my feminine clientele, but I think this is bound to pick up speed sooner or later. Oh, I also added an obscuring enchantment to prevent people peeping from underneath on this one, since you're so tall. That fine with you? Yeah, of course. Thank you, actually. I didn't really think about that detail, but now that you say it, that's kind of embarrassing. Just doing my job, teach. What do you say you try it on, see if I got the size and everything correct. They're all the same, so if one's good they're all good. Sure, give me a minute. Sofia grabbed the outfit and went to change in her bathroom. She removed all her accessories except Afinoreth's glove, to see what the clothes were worth by themselves. It's comfortable enough. The skirt is much shorter than I expected, good thing he added that enchantment. I did think the white shirt would highlight my chest a bit, but this might be too much. Oh well. Might as well leverage my large charisma. I was dubious about the fake belts, but this works better than expected too. I have to admit, this guy is good at his job. When Sofia came out of the bathroom, she found her living room free of all of the clothier's mess of tools and clothes. Instead he was setting up a large mirror and a big chair. Hot damn! Looks even better than I expected, I'm rather proud of myself on this one. How's the fitting? The clothier exclaimed as he finished setting up the lightstone torches near the mirror. Thanks, it feels great, I can tell it was an expert's job. You flatter me. Come, I've prepared a set so you can look at yourself. This is the only chair I have for your size, so I hope you don't mind the design, just sit on that and smile. Smile? Sofia asked as she sat on the large wooden chair. Oh, that does look good. That the obscuring enchantment? I can't see through even with VPPV. Maybe I should still cross my legs, what if he can see? Yes, sit comfortably and smile, don't move. The mirror will capture your image, the dwarf explained, giving 2 taps on his big mirror. I'll transfer it to a piece of paper, you can keep it or whatever, it's something that I always do, noble ladies usually like to see themselves like this. Keep a souvenir of their younger self. Sofia sat still and smiled. Underscore 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 un. Chapter 309, From an Egg. After the clothier left, Sofia had tried all of her new outfits, and for now had decided to wear the very first one that the clothier had recommended. She understood why, now. The thick and ample blue robe matching her arm scale was soft and supple. Despite the early morning's cold atmosphere, it kept her warm like sitting in front of a fireplace. Wearing it felt like walking while inside of a comfortable bed. The golden embroideries had turned out incredible, they shone under the morning light, and if she looked closer, Sofia could even spot some tiny cute bones and skulls in the flowery patterns. The clothier really had a great sense for details. Everything is enchanted, from the boots to the tights to the earrings. This was really worth the money. Sofia already knew the effects, but she identified the earrings again. She needed to make sure she completely had the second level of Identify well imprinted as a wild cast spell before she was confident in forgetting the skill to free up a slot. Golden and sapphire earrings of perfect tones, these gleaming earrings are little marvels of dwarven jewelry. Both enchanted with durability enhancement, the right one also corrects the lighting and shading on your face to make sure you look perfect from every angle, while the left one protects you from loud noises that would damage your hearing. They look good on you. Really nice. I wonder how expensive those are by themselves. Can't be less than 400 gold, right? Endlessly entertained by her new outfit, Sofia strolled through the academy halls. It was really desperately empty, for now, but it was an interesting place to explore nonetheless. Being alone in a place meant to host many people gave Sofia a strange feeling of uneasiness. Roaming from one corridor to the next, Sofia found the dining hall. It was the largest room she had found so far, and it was currently empty. The long wooden tables and the many chairs were all neatly stacked up in a corner. An entire side of the room was a large buffet which was currently empty, behind it were the kitchens. There's light in there. Someone in the kitchen? Sofia's mana senses informed her that there was indeed someone. The distribution of their mana seemed to belong to a humanoid race, from the amount Sofia estimated their level to be somewhere around 190. I don't know if I'm allowed back there. Sofia thought as she walked over the small wooden gate separating the hall from the kitchen. She entered the kitchen. They were like a scaled-up version of the Chich's kitchen, about 4 times the size, with many sinks and stoves, and even familiar trapdoors in the hole that might or might not lead to a slime farm. The person inside was a fox beastman with pointy red-brown ears and a big fluffy tail. He was wearing an entirely white uniform and intently watching the sunny-side-up eggs cooking in the pan in front of him as if they were going to explode. Artisan, LV 139. Hi. Sofia greeted him. Without looking away from his eggs, the foxman raised an open hand. It signified for Sofia to stop and hold still. Intrigued, Sofia looked a bit closer, and realized that not only was there no fire under the pan, the beastman was using his mana to cook the eggs. Not a spell, but precise and controlled raw waves of mana bombardment to heat up the food. No wonder he looks so focused. 1 second of inattention and he'll end up with scrambled eggs. Why not just use fire though? Despite Sofia's compliance in not disturbing the man any further, he failed to maintain his stream of mana, messing up the eggs in the pan like Sofia had anticipated. He sighed, defeated. Why are you using such a convoluted way to cook an egg? Sofia asked. The beastman stretched to relieve his tension before turning to Sofia and answering, I can cook eggs just fine, I cook hundreds of eggs every day. But I'm trying to develop new magic.nov, l/b//jnn. Fireless cooking magic? No, opponent cooking magic. I believe that well used, this magic could cause severe internal burns, bypassing armor and most simple magical protections. But it's still nowhere near there yet, the cook explained as he tossed the half-cooked scrambled eggs in a bowl. With a bit of fire magic, he finished cooking them in an instant, and added a pinch of salt. Eat up, he said, holding the bowl out for Sofia. For me? Are you not a new teacher? I am. Then eat. Teachers can eat here for free. And I've already had 12 eggs today. Looks like you have been at this for a while. Alright, thanks for the meal. I'm Sofia by the way. Summoner Battle Strategies teacher. Sofia grabbed the bowl and fork the cook was insisting on giving her. Oh, right, Eltiel's gone on an imperial mission, isn't she? Welcome to Brythal, teacher Sofia. Name's Paul, and as is obvious, I'm a cook. You can always stop by the kitchens if you want a meal, but if it's the off hours, you can't always choose what you'll get. Eltiel right, Belly Genus mentioned I was her replacement. So this is why they were suddenly looking for someone fill up the spot, sudden imperial mission. Can the Emperor give system quests like Sun can? Nice to meet you Paul. Are you always in the kitchen? Who works on the off hours? Sofia asked. She ate as he answered, these were good scrambled eggs. Not just me but there is always at least one cook in the kitchen. Many of the teachers here are sleepless, you among them I suppose, so we're open through the night in case they get hungry. Interesting. The year hasn't started though. For us in the kitchens and for the cleaning personnel it has never ended. Some people stay here all year round, can't have an interruption of service. Makes sense. Sorry for interrupting you then, good luck with your magic research. Sofia thanked Paul for the snack and left him to his own devices in the kitchen. She heard the distant cracking of eggshells as she left the dining hall. Despite her very long stroll, Sofia failed to find the student dormitories. The academy was just too large, and it seemed indicating directions hadn't been a priority of whoever designed the place. After 2 hours of random walking, she had decided to return to the teacher's tower. Going up the stairs she decided to knock on every teacher's door until someone opened. Surely I can't be the only one here today? To her dismay, the first few floors were all silent. Astelia was not present either, but when she knocked on the door of the 6th floor, floor 6, teacher Eternam Aoldun, Necromancy and Alchemy, someone answered. It was a skeleton in a display case. Who is it? Student? It said in an exasperated voice. He's talking through the skull. I can feel a tiny hole through the barrier he used to create the link. Hi, I'm a new teacher, I was hired to replace teacher Eltiel for this year's classes. Oh. Have a nice stay, the skeleton answered, sounding decidedly uninterested. Thank you, I hope we could discuss necromancy, I specialize in summoning skeletons and... Ah! Where is my head? Excuse me for being so impolite, surely you would come in for some tea, yes? Oh, wow! Changed discourse faster than I could turn around. It would be my pleasure. The teacher's connection to the talking skull in the display case was cut, and Sofia patiently waited for the barrier to open. From inside, the door was opened by a shade wearing a maid uniform. What the? Please come in and sit down, I will be here in a minute, a deep voice called out from one of the side rooms inside. Sofia walked in, the shade gently closing the door behind her. It's like Iwara became a maid. This is weird to look at. The interior was decorated much like the entrance. Every wall was a bookshelf, covered in ancient tomes. There were several skeletons and skulls on display either hanging from the ceiling, in display cases or on pedestals. Strangely enough, there was no bed, or anything of that kind. The non-bookshelf furniture was limited to tables buried under piles and piles of books, scrolls, and loose pages, as well as one small round tea table with 3 chairs. At least I know where to sit, not much choice. Sitting down at the only table in the room, Sofia gave the room another scan, noticing about 10 shades hiding in corners and behind bookshelves. There's probably more. I wonder what level they are, perhaps I could snatch control of them with Iwara's skill. That'd be a bad first impression though. From the room where the voice had originated, Sofia heard clicks. Rhythmic clicks on the floorboards, to be exact, like the long claws of a dog's paws hitting the floor. Their origin soon revealed itself, these were indeed claws hitting the floor. Bird talons, to be exact. The tall and gaunt, feathery figure of the teacher left no doubt as to his race. Avian. Mage, LV 400+. Chapter 310, Lively Conversations. Eternam entered the room, his sharp 3-toed talons clicking on the wooden floor. His hands looked similar, with long and nimble clawed fingers. He looked like a humanoid crow. His body was covered in sleek obsidian black feathers except for his torso which was covered in black fuzz instead. He wore several layers of thin black clothes, some tightly wrapped around his torso and his featherless forearms and ankles, and some loosely hanging over those. From under his arms, extending to his back, long black wings draped around him like a tall and majestic cape. His face was a strange human and bird mix, with human eyes above a crow-like pointed beak and a crown of spread feathers adorning his head. Strangely Zire looks more human than he does. This is more like a super extra beastman ancestor or something like that. The real bird species beastmen are kind of pitiful in comparison. Like comparing a lizard and dragon. Eternam's head turned on the side like a bird's as he observed Sofia. A saint? I thought Knowledge's saint was still alive, but if so, which god is it? Loyalty, perhaps? Eternam asked as he drew closer and sat on the chair opposite Sofia's. His long feathery wings almost entirely covered the chair making it look like the avian was sitting on thin air. Knowledge? Oh, for necromancy? Is Knowledge's saint a necromancer? That would make sense considering Parith's ritual uses Knowledge's rune. No, my patron god does not have much to do with my necromancy abilities. The class I have is not really a saint and not really a necromancer. Call it a hiccup of the system. Is that so? I hear resentment in your voice. You must not be contributing much to your patron god's power. I'll kill him if I have the opportunity, Sofia confirmed without flinching. Eternam reeled back a bit, making eerie bird noises. Sofia understood this was laughter. Or perhaps cackling was a more appropriate interpretation. An ambitious plan. You might need more than a few skeletons. But you seem to have things under control. Dragon scale, I also feel avian magic on you. Whose old tomb did you pledge? The avian asked. The words were accusatory but the voice was still neutral. Oh, it's probably from this, Sofia started to say, bringing out her staff. I did find it in a ruined avian city, underground beneath a human continent's spirit forest. Eternam's body was immobile but his head stretched forward, staring at the staff. Nice find. So a group found shelter underground. Interesting, yes. No other finds from there? There was a survivor actually. She was turned into an apostle and survived trapped underground until I arrived. She's also going to be a teacher here for the year. Sofia had a scare as Eternam had leaped from his chair and suddenly came closer. Perith even appeared in between them, but the avian's unblinking stare still reached Sofia from between Perith's bones. Really, yes? The avian teacher asked. Yes, she should be here already, I think. Ah. Sorry if I scared you, Eternam apologized as he backed up. His eyes now lingered on Perith and his halo. Another survivor. Even an apostle, that is great news. Are there so few avians left? She never explained why they had to hide. Eternam sighed and sat back down. Do you know basilisks? Eternam asked, venom in his voice. The miasma-spewing flying sea serpents? Who hasn't heard of them? Those exactly. Around 2,000 years ago, their king emerged from the depths. A basilisk strong enough to contend with the strongest of dragons. Its appearance sent the basilisks into a frenzy. They no longer had enough of the sea, they needed to conquer the land, to roam the skies. That sounds quite bad, but why would the avians disappear when weak races like us humans survived just fine? Avian bones are a delicacy to basilisks. Spreading worldwide through the skies, they hunted our kind without rest, leading to our near extinction. Sorry for your loss. What happened to the basilisk king? Killed, yes. An alliance of ancient and powerful beings got rid of it, but too late. Still, I am ever thankful to them. The headmaster is one of them, forever a hero to the avian kind. It's hard to believe the system would let that happen. I already received an angel's warning against using my most destructive spells in places where it could hurt civilians. But yet they would let avians go extinct? Eternam shook his feathery head. The system was not always so pervasive. Its foundation and angels were once weak. It took a long time for it to become what it is now. We can only comfort ourselves in that this tragedy led to the strengthening of the angelic ranks, which has been vital in recent times. Let me guess, Phagids? Sofia tried. That is what has been keeping most of their attention for the last 1,000 years, yes, the avian confirmed. How is it that the old and powerful don't do another basilisk king and hunt them down? I know some people who are, but they seem to be struggling. It is not so easy. The Phagid are slippery, hard to track. Everyone has been trying to find their origin, but the best we can do so far is to answer the attacks in kind. This being said, most anyone over level 400 will seek and hunt them whenever they catch wind of their appearance, myself included. Sofia and Eternam's conversation looped back to necromancy after a few minutes of discussing other matters. Quite a peculiar ritual circle, he commented as he observed Perith's summoning circle that Zire had improved, curious how the base has been completely replaced by a divine rune. That makes everything else have to work around it. I can tell that an avian helped design this just from the runic syntax. She helped make it much simpler. There used to be a bunch of useless junk to hide the divine rune in plain sight. Not bad. And this is for your holy skeleton, you say? It looks sturdy enough. A shame that the skill must be doing half the work. This ritual circle by itself wouldn't do any good to anyone else. Not even to raise a regular skeleton? No, even in the off-chance knowledge accepted to activate the magic, it would still only create an empty husk. This can only ever bind the soul of your one skeleton, and no one would be able to steal that. Oh. Speaking of which, he is able to teleport to me whenever. I wondered if I might be able to reverse the process and teleport to him. Do you think that would be possible? Eternam's head rotated one way then the other. I will need to see the teleportation through my own two eyes to tell you. Sure, go ahead Perith, Sofia ordered. Perith walked away a few meters then teleported back. Eternam silently watched the process. The connection could certainly be taken over to teleport to him instead, but... You would need to learn how to teleport by yourself first. Oh. Alright. Well, that was already in the plans. Never a bad idea, Eternam confirmed. Better yet, you might be able to take this one step further. How so? You could achieve a place swap by teleporting to each other simultaneously. Timing would be key for that to be consistent, but it could be a great tool in a fight. Either way, these kinds of teleportations will always be easier than regular ones, since you won't have to direct your soul through the spirit plane yourself and can just follow the already existing track. Interesting. A bit more effort than I had hoped, but that will work. Was the talking you did through the skull at the entrance working on a similar principle? No, this is just a transmission spell, the ritual is engraved inside the skull. I could see, speak, and hear through anything as long as it has this rune inside and I can connect to it. Could I ask you to teach me that? That is going to cost you a lesson credit, Eternam informed her, or you could trade for your own knowledge. Do I have anything you want to know more about? My shades are uneasy around you for a reason I cannot quite understand. Any idea about that? Oh, this is due to two of my skills I believe. The knowledge sharing about necromancy was lively, clearly Eternam was quite enthusiastic about the subject matter. Their discussion was interrupted by someone knocking on the door. Time for a practical exam, fellow teacher. You know how to connect to the runes now, do so and inform me of the identity of the new guest.